In this presentations, we are going to discuss about the runtime environment and storage generation with the subtopic is storage organization. Actually, the storage organizations is discussed with the three kind of storage. That is in stack, static and heap. So the perspective of the compiler writer, the execution of target programs runs in its own logical address space in which each program value has the locations. So the management and organizations of the logical address space is shared between the compiler, operating systems and the target machines. So the operating systems maps the logical address into a physical address which are usually spread throughout the memory. So that memory space is categorized into three types, that's in static data, stack and heap. If the data are stored into the fixed memory locations, that can be stored into the static. If the data length to be varied, so in that time we can store the stack. So then in this third storage is an heap. So we cannot definitely define the data storage. So in that time move to the heap memory allocations. So actually the data are in the form of code area and the static area. So the size of generated target core is a fixed. So at the compile time, so the compiler places the executable target core in the statistically determined area. So if it has a low end of the memory, so that kind of data are stored into the static area. So size of the some programs data objects such as the global constants and the data generated by the compiler, such kind of information to stop the garbage collections and may be known as the compile time, and this data objects can be placed in the another statistical determined area. And in the stack area used to store the data structures called the activations records, because the activations records informations to be added or removed based on the execution call. How you can so in that in these executions called the parameters to be passed for the called program. So in that time the activations records informations may be increased or decreased based on the parameters. So that kind of data are stored into the stack area. In this heap area, many programming language allow the programmer to allocate or deallocate data under the program control. For example, C has a functions malloc and free that can be used to obtain and give back arbitrary chunks of storage. So the heap is used to manage this kind of long-lived data. So if you want to refer the previous data, so the one must the data to be lived for a long time. So in that time we used a linked list type of storage. So that is a heap storage. So in this stack allocations space, almost all compilers for the languages that use the procedures, functions on the methods and the units for the user defined actions manage at least a part of their runtime memory as a stack. So here each time the procedure is called, a space for its local variable is pushed onto the stack. When the procedure terminates its executions, the space to be cleared by the pop operations. So when the procedure is going to the executions, that is to be pushed, and after the completions of the particular procedure it is moved. So the main program, example we consider the main program have more than three sub programs. So the main program initially pushed into the stack. After the completion of this three sub program, the main program is popped out from the stack. So the activation tree, the stack allocations would not be feasible if the procedure call or the activations of the procedure did not nest in time. The following examples illustrate the nestings of the procedure. So nesting means procedure within the procedure. So examples, the procedures calls and returns are usually managed by the runtime stack called the control stack. So here the activation record is maintain the following information: actual parameters in the function call, then return values, control link, access link, saved mission status, local data, temporaries. So for each functions have a activation record. So if the main functions has one activations record, if it has three subfunctions means it also has a three different activations record. So the activations records has the informations about the temporary variables, local data, and it's also saved the mission status and the access link. So whatever the controls from to executions like that. And the space for the return value is also called the functions. It's also written address is also stored in the activations records. The natural parameters used by the calling procedures is this kind of informations are maintained in the activation record. So what's in calling sequence? So which procedures is called the subprogram? So that is in calling program. The called program is the internal subprograms which is called by the main program. So that is in called program or callee. Which program is called the subprograms? The call program is an caller program. Thank you.